How would you like to make your first million? And today we have a guest from United States, Paul. Paul, tell us, what are the 5 steps to make your first million?
Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and wisdom of how they sold their first million.
Well, I think first of all, you need to excel in your current job. You need to deliver more than is expected. You got to exceed what your boss or what the customer expects. So that's number one. Number two, you need to be thinking about, if you're in a corporation, which I was, you need to be thinking about the next job that you want. You know, it's hard to think out 20 years. You know, what do I want to do 20 years from now? The world is changing so quickly and there's just so many opportunities. It's not good. So what do I want to do next? And maybe what's the job after that I want? And then what do I need to do to prepare for that job? What skills do I need? What experiences, that type of thing. I think number three, you need to grow your network. You need to always be looking to expand your network, both within your company, but also within your industry, and for that matter, worldwide. Here we are today, you and I talking, you're in London, I'm in the States. I mean, the world has gotten smaller and smaller with the internet.
100%.
Number four, you need to find mentors and coaches that are going to help you. There's people that have achieved what you want to achieve, so you can learn a lot from them. So find them and use them, tap into their expertise, and help yourself get better and better. And then finally, I think it's really important to practice continuous improvement. No matter what you're doing, running a business, you're a leader in a corporation, you're a coach, consultant, doesn't matter. You need to commit to continuous improvement. You need to always be thinking about what can you do better next time? How can you be more effective? How can you add more value? What can you do to improve the results you're trying to achieve? So I think those 5 things can help anyone, whether you're an entrepreneur, you're in a corporation, consultant, coach, podcast host, doesn't matter, So those are my 5.
Excellent, Paul. And then the first question I would like to ask you, Paul, is about the transition from corporate to entrepreneur, right? Because this is a step that probably a lot of people want to do, but very few does it. And I think that number one, the first factor is that corporate make you really comfortable. Yeah, they don't want you. They pay you very good money. Well, sometimes it's a little bit of stressful, depending on the position. But corporate want to make you very, very comfortable, right? So you stay an employee for them. Yeah, as much as they need. And here's the thing: is as much as they need you, because the day that they don't need you, they will tell you, "I'm sorry, you don't need it anymore." And then all of a sudden, this mansion you have, this Ferrari, all this, everything that you got, you can lose it overnight because you cannot make those payments, right? So, what make you to you go to this transition that say, okay, I'm gonna make the step, and I'm going regardless that I have a very good corporate job and I have a lot of experience, I'm going to achieve. And then you're going to do something different, because corporate, you're very good at a very specific skill. And that's why they make you a lot of money. Become an entrepreneur is a completely different ballgame. You need to learn probably a little bit, but from a lot of things in order for you to run a business. So how was this process? How you embrace it? And what do you recommend to corporate people that they're suffering and still they are brave enough to do what you did?
Mhm. Yeah, I think that's a good question, Harry. I think in a corporation, just to add to what you said, in a corporation, you can think and act like an entrepreneur. You know, you can be thinking about what new products or services or what can we do in the company to broaden our product line, our skill set, you know, what can we do so you can think like an entrepreneur. But as you said, typically in a corporation, you have a narrow focus. You know, you're in human resources or finance or marketing or whatever. So it's pretty narrowly focused, your day-to-day activities, your expertise, etc. When you leave the corporation and now you're running your own business, you know, to start out with, you're doing everything. You know, you're doing the marketing, you're doing the consulting or the servicing or coaching, whatever it might be. You're managing the finances. You may be hiring someone to help you with the finances and accounting, but basically you're a one-man show, a one-person show, and you're doing a lot. It can feel overwhelming, and there's a lot you need to do. I think it takes a lot of passion and conviction to really believe in your mission and commitment to it to be successful. But as you said, it's very rocky to start out with. You know, there's lots of I don't know, demands and requirements and things that you don't have a lot of expertise in, you know? So
What
again,
business you gonna
having
do on the
a
first place? What business you gonna
yeah,
do?
I mean, having a coach or consultant or someone to help you is very important. I always recommended, no matter what business you're going into, find a mentor who's succeeded in what you want to succeed at. If you want to run a restaurant, for example, find someone to coach you and to mentor you who has been successful at running a restaurant. You know, what did they do? And they can give you lots and lots and lots of advice and insights that will help you not make the mistakes that they made. So I think that's very valuable. But you're right. It is a very tough transition to go from a comfy corporate job where you're making, you know, good money and you have administrative assistants and people to help you and support you. And there's many people you can go to within the company. It's
And
nice. You
Saturday and
know, that's
Sunday
why a
and
lot of people stay.
Saturday and Sunday you don't need to worry about anything, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Saturday and
So,
Sunday you're free. You don't need
but
to
yeah,
worry about work.
yeah, I guess my big point would be think long and hard about making the transition. Realize it's going to be very demanding, 7 days a week, you know, endless hours. You're going to be doing some things that aren't the, you know, most fun or most enjoyable, and find a mentor, someone who has succeeded in exactly the area that you want to succeed at, and tap into their brain and their expertise and help them or ask them to help you be successful. I think that's
Yeah.
important.
Paul, I think that I like a lot your step number one, because the step number one, listen how you started. You said, look, become very good at your job, right?
Yeah,
You know, when I built my first business, yes, my first business was in
yeah,
property, and but I was working in the Hilton as a room attendant, and
mm-hmm,
but I went actually to work there because I want to open a business about renting rooms. So I'm thinking, well, uh,
mm-hmm, yeah,
the best place to learn how to rent rooms that from the Hilton. Yeah, my English was no good,
mm-hmm,
so I'm not good for reception. I'm not good for anything. So, but
mm-hmm,
room service I can do. Yeah,
mm-hmm,
but interesting thing, what happened is that the room service attendant in a Hilton, probably in all the hotels, he had the keys for everything. Everybody needs to
mm-hmm,
talk to him because it's a room service. So I get the food to the director of the hotel. I get the food to the people in HR. I get the food to the clients. I get the food to reception. I have keys for the drinks, for the food. So bottom line, I'm talking to everyone and everybody's teaching me things. Make sense? Everybody teaching me things
Yeah,
about
I worked in
procedures,
a
about
pretty
this,
big.
about this, about that. And then parallel, Paul, and all those skills that they were teaching me, all the friends that I met in the Hilton, that were key when I started my business. And your step one is that one. You say, look, become very good at your job and trying to scale some positions, because those skills that you're gaining from that job is gonna save you a lot of time and energy and effort when you open your own business. Correct?
Yeah, yeah. I think, when you're really good at your current job, you get noticed. People notice you because you excel, you deliver more than what's expected. So people
You're
notice
excellent.
you as someone who has potential, and then they start thinking about, gee, maybe we can move so and so into this role, or be a team leader, or head up the marketing function, or whatever it might be. But that's how you get noticed. Um, I worked at a pretty big company. It was 20,000 employees,
Wow.
and I was in I was in human resources for quite a few years. But people would come to me and they'd say, "I want to be promoted. I want to be a team leader. I want to be a manager." And I'd say, "Okay, great. How are you doing in your current job?" And they would say, "Well, so-so. I'm doing average." I said, "Well, average doesn't cut it. There's lots of people that want to be promoted. There's lots of people that want the job that you're going after. You're competing against 10 other people who are excelling in their job. So you're not going to have a chance. So you need to excel in your current job. Even you may not like the job or love the job, but you still got to put in the time and effort, and you got to excel at it to get noticed, to develop the skills, to develop the resume you need to advance up to the next level or move to another department or that type of thing. Very important.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, Paul, is about gaining skills. The entrepreneurship is not from for everybody, because it requires, again, a lot of effort, and you do have to learn a lot of skills, a lot of
Yeah.
different skills. But if you're a high performance, if you have high performance in your current company, what happens is you
Mm-hmm.
will be moving up the ladder, or you will be doing different positions. You know how many times I
Right.
had done corporate jobs, corporate training to companies, to a bank, to a cooperative in Latin America, and the CEO have told us, yeah, that the reason why we need to do this corporate training is because the 800 employees from the bank, no one want to swap positions. The people that
Mm-hmm.
they cashier, they don't want to move to the front desk. The people from the front desk doesn't want to move to be cashier.
Mm-hmm.
And there were like 5, 6, 7 different roles in that bank. And the CEO is telling me and my partner Lily, look, I really need them to learn other roles, because I need more flexibility in the company.
Mm-hmm.
Because if someone is sick or something happened, then I have this desk empty, and I cannot have this empty. I needed to be able to rotate, and they don't want,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't want. I'm stuck,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, and that's exactly what the training that we gave to this company, it was about that. It's about enrolling the employees, enrolling the team. That, hey,
Mm-hmm.
the more roles you do, the better for you.
Mm.
It's
Yeah,
the better
I
for you,
couldn't
because
agree more, Harry, that
you get any
you need
skills,
to,
and
yeah,
you
you
get
need
any
to
skill
be
if you know how to do
flexible.
the rules. If you know how to do the rules, the second part is what I'm telling you. Was telling them, look, you learn about how to do everything. Guess what? You will be able to ask a raise, because
Yeah.
the CEO that is asking me, you don't want for him. He has separate numbers in his in his sheet, and he said, okay, if I have one that can rotate for everyone, well, maybe I don't need more, one more. Maybe it's worthwhile for me to pay a little bit more. Yeah.
Mm.
So
I agree. The more you broaden your skill set and understanding of all the different parts and pieces of the organization, the more valuable you become. You know, it only makes sense. So being open to moving around and trying new roles and gaining new insights, I mean, that's invaluable. Your knowledge of how the business works grows and expands, and you become, as I say, more valuable as an employee. That's very important.
let's talk about culture.
Corporations sometimes keep you very narrow. You know, some
Yeah, let's talk
corporations,
about
you
that.
only
Yeah.
work in this little function and you stay there for your whole career. And you know that function well, but you don't know a lot of other parts of the organization and how they work. So
Probably that's the
you
whole
have a narrow viewpoint.
Probably that's the whole point, because the more narrow they keep you, Paul, the more unemployable you become. You actually have
Exactly.
to work for them forever,
Exactly.
because you have nowhere to
Yeah.
nowhere to go. Whether my
Right.
company, for example, is small companies, few employees, and what you have in a startup, the dynamic is completely different. And this is when culture comes to play. I
Mm.
remember, Paul, like in 17 years that we have done doing business with my team, yeah, no one never asked
Mm-hmm.
me, no, I'm not gonna do this because this is not my job. This,
Mm-hmm.
this in our company doesn't exist, because since we hired them, we tell them, look, this is a very small company. We have a lot to do and very few
Mm-hmm.
people. Good people, but very few.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, excellent people actually. So I when we hire, we tell them, said this company is not for everyone, because this
Yeah.
company you have to swap roles, you have to do things, and the most interesting thing, if you don't know, you have to figure it out. This is how we
Mm.
and but I think, and embedded in that culture, Paul, at the end,
Mm.
the result. Sometimes I asking to our employees, some of them have been working with us 12 years. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they're still
Yeah.
around. And I'm asking them, look, why are you still around? You can make more money somewhere else. With
Mm.
the skills, with everything you got, you get paid more somewhere else. Why still you're around?
Mm.
And the answer is, Harry, because we like to work with you.
Mm.
And we are
Mm.
happy with the money that we get.
Yeah.
So because you give us challenges, you give us new things. You every these things is always changing. It's not boring. Sometimes we have to,
Mm-hmm.
even this podcast. I called my IT
Mm-hmm.
director when I was about to start. I told him, look, I'm gonna do a podcast. And my IT director, what? I said, look, I
Mm-hmm.
want to do a podcast. So can you guys have a
Mm.
look into it? And he told me, okay, okay, Harry, we need to look into this deeply, because we don't know.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know.
Mm.
Give us 3 weeks, and 3 weeks, and we're gonna come back with something. Yeah. So, and then
Mm.
after 3 weeks, our IT director came back with our team and said, Harry, look, we have good news for you. I said, what? Then they told me, just press the button.
Mm-hmm.
Just press the
Mm.
record button. That's it. There is nothing else you need to do. This we distribute to all your social media. We go to Apple, we go to Spotify. Everything we have all figured out, the process in place. All you have to do is just press the button. Don't worry about the rest. So until now, I don't know even how this ending up in Spotify, or social media and everything. I got a rough idea what they do, but they wrote the software, they're connecting everything, and they are doing it themselves. So part of the story is Paul culture. Yes. So being you
Mm.
in a corporate, so the knowing that that the whole point of these organizations are probably is like this, make it very, very specific, which is good
Mm.
for corporate. But when it goes to entrepreneur, to have your own company, completely different ball game. So,
Mm.
how you approach culture in your company, which is completely
Mhm,
different dynamic, than how you approach
mhm,
culture in some corporates. I won't say other ones, because some of them they do open more flexibility for the employees. But how you navigate this challenge, because you are used for 20 years to do things in one way, which is what you learned, is what you saw. But now you have a company, and now you have 3, 4, 5 employees at the beginning, because you haven't started up, and now those employees, you need them as much general as possible, right? That specific, correct?
Well, the company I worked at, I was in charge of succession planning. I should say the coordinator for succession planning. And to your point, Harry, one of the
That's what they
things
were
we
going to
did,
you to ask when they want to get promoted, right?
they did, but I would have a meeting with the president and the vice presidents, and we would talk about all of the high potential employees and various people who were in line to take on a bigger role. But what I was going to say is we deliberately moved people around the organization.
Absolutely.
You know, we'd move someone from finance into marketing, someone from operations into human resources. You know, so we deliberately had plans where people move through multiple functions to get a view of the world from that function. And that, to your point earlier, that broadened their understanding and skill set and made them
100%.
more aware of how the whole company works, the alignment between and among the pieces, and what it takes to have a high performing, effective organization. Your other point you made, I think, is that every team, every successful team and group department I have studied, there was a very effective leader leading that group. And that leader typically believed in learning and development. And part of that was moving people and broadening their jobs and coaching them and what have you. So in most cases, the leader was helping that person become more adept, more skilled, as I say, a broader understanding of their mission, their department, how their department interacted with the other departments, you know, just broadening their understanding of how an effective business operates and you know, what they needed to understand about what it takes to be successful in a business. And the people who only wanted to stay in their comfort zone and keep doing what they always did were the ones that, you know, didn't really advance or survived, or if we had layoffs, they were typically on the
100%.
layoff list. So
Absolutely.
that's the reality of it, that you
Yeah.
need to keep growing and expanding and getting better. Continuous improvement. That's why I mentioned early on that is really important for everybody, whether you're a teacher, a parent, a coach, you know, manager, leader, it doesn't matter. You got to have a growth mindset. You got to be
100%.
motivated to do it better each time you do it, I believe.
And
So,
then, Paul, it comes also about the response to change, because what happened with these big companies, big corporate, and that's maybe the main reason why they are not around, some of them, is that they are responding to change very slow. Like the whole idea, if you are
yeah.
a huge company and you have 3,000 little boats, and the little boat at the beginning said to all the 3,000 little boat, turn right. Very quickly, all the 3,000 little boats will turn right. If the little boat in the front said turn left, these 3,000 little boats, very quickly they're going to turn left. However, some of these companies, right, that have this specific structure and they don't rotate the employees, it's more like a Titanic, right? The structure is
Yeah.
so rigid that you have a huge Titanic. And imagine when you have to turn right, by the time that you move all this big machine, to turn right, the iceberg is already in front of you and sink. So, in my opinion, yeah, and I think that you at least the culture of the company you were working, they understood that, right? They were functioning like the little boats. They were moving the employees around. So having employees around in every department, even for 2 months, even for 3 months, um, give a deep understanding how the whole organization works as a whole. And when when we have to respond to change, these key people that are in the organization that have done that know about the whole organization, have done small roles, these are gonna be the key people that are gonna come with the ideas, with the innovation, with the way how we can respond to change faster, which is one of the biggest challenges that companies out there, and some of them collapse just because of that. So, Paul, tell us about
Yeah.
your business. Tell us about the new business that you set up. Yeah, what is the name? What are you helping your clients with?
I'm sorry, say that again, Harry.
Yeah. Paul, tell us a little bit more about your business, the business that you have
Oh,
at the moment. What are you
well,
helping your
I
clients with?
yeah, I was involved with a management training program or company, and we conducted management seminars, workshops, did some strategic planning, things like that. I am currently semi-retired. I don't like the word retired
Oh, we
because I
never
want to.
retire.
We
No,
never retire. I want to keep adding value, right?
absolutely,
And
absolutely.
I write books. I've
Very
written
good.
to date 24 books,
24
and
books.
I 24
Wow.
books. Yeah, yeah.
Which
And I
topic?
I
Which had the topics?
most of them are on leadership, how to be an effective leader. Yep.
Very good.
And I also do
Tell
speak
us
at
the title of
conferences.
tell us the title of two, three books, and where can we find them?
Well, I think one that I highly recommend is Leadership Styles. And it's very simple. It talks about three styles: directing, discussing, and delegating. I think those are three styles that leaders use every day in every meeting. Um, every parent uses them for that matter, every coach, teacher. Directing, you tell the person what to do, how to do it, when to have it done by. When people have no idea what to do, they want and need direction, right? So it's pretty simple. Discussing is kind of what we're doing here. You're asking questions, I'm responding, I'm listening to your comments, I'm building on those. A good leader asks the right questions to engage and involve his people or her people. And then thirdly, as people gain experience and knowledge and what have you, and they've done the task 28 times, you delegate. They don't need direction. They don't need to be told how to do it. You don't need to hear from them what they're thinking about. They know what to do. So just empower them, delegate, get it done. Those three styles are very simple. They're very useful, but you can overdo it. You can go too far with any one of them. You can over delegate. Sometimes we over delegate to the star performer who we know is going to do a great job, and we keep giving them more and more work to do, and they get burnt out. That's not good.
Mhm.
You and I we've been in meetings where the discussion goes on and on and on and on, and there's no closure. At some point you got to make a decision. So the leader needs to understand when everybody's had their 2 cents and had their say, at some point, you got to say, okay, great ideas, great thoughts. We got to make a decision. We can do it collectively, or I'm going to make it alone. With directing, sometimes you can be too direct. You can be too in their face, my way or the highway. That's not good. You want to be professional in all of these different interactions. So, long story, one of my books is Leadership Styles. I think that's a really good one. Another one is the leadership process. I think leaders follow a process to achieve success. And the leadership process goes into the 4 basic steps that leaders follow to lead change and implement change. And I think that's a good one I'd recommend as well. They're all inexpensive. They're like $5 or less on Amazon. But as I say, they're very focused on a particular topic, and they're good.
Yeah,
If
very
I
good.
do say so myself.
Well, let me tell you something about retiring. Yeah, there is the cab office in United Kingdom. We usually call the taxis, yeah, to the cab drivers to drive us around, yeah, because I don't drive.
Mhm.
And I'm asking, we have friends, and they all they all have their house in Spain because they have been doing this driving the cars for a long time. Talk to them, and they always tell me, "No, I have my house in Spain. I go on holiday," and I'm telling them, "Look, guys, but why you driving this car, man? Why you don't retire? Just go to Spain and retire. That's
Mhm.
enough. You're driving around and all the time."
Mhm.
And he told me, "Harry, look, you remember about this guy?" I said, "Yeah, of course I remember him. This what he drove me a lot." I said, "Well, he retired a year ago and now he's dead."
Mm. Mm. Yeah.
So the whole point of the story
Yeah.
is, when we are working, we have a purpose.
Yeah.
Um, we are always active. We have our brain, our cells, our
Yeah.
motivation is keeping us alive, right? This is
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
main reason that we are human beings. And the moment that
Yeah.
we give up, uh, then our body is also gonna give up. Yeah. So
Yeah.
still we have a lot of people to help. So we need to keep going, Paul. Yeah. Keep writing books.
Yeah. But
24 books. That's a lot of books.
yeah, it is a lot of books. And the last book I just wrote, to tie into your last point, the title of it is Add Value, Improve the Status Quo. And
I
I
like
think
that
that's
one.
exactly
That's very
what
good.
you were saying. Adding value is so important that we need to always be focused on, as a leader, what can we do to improve the situation? How can we help people? How can we add value? It might be encouraging them. It might be giving them candid
Add
feedback.
value to
It might be
everyone, to your
challenging
clients,
them.
add value to your
Yeah,
clients, to your employees, to everyone.
yep,
How
yep,
you can make the best so everyone grow and everybody get the
yep,
most to be around, right? So,
yes, yep,
uh,
yep.
Paul, the other question I want to ask you is, um, how long is taking you to write these books, and what is the moment to let them go? I'm telling you because when my partner Lily, she owns a book publishing company, yeah, and
Mm-hmm,
every time that I'm gonna write the book, she goes write it for me, yeah. But sometimes
mm-hmm,
I remember my Facebook, I didn't want to let it go. I want to keep writing,
mm,
writing, keep making it better, keep making it better. It's like a baby, and you don't
mm-hmm,
want to let it go. So,
mm-hmm,
how you are you doing with this process? How do you know that okay, the book is finished? I have to let it go, and I think you do it very good
mm-hmm,
because you're letting it go. If you have 24, that means that you're not
mm.
attaching to a Facebook that much, which is something opposite that most writers do out there, right? Including me. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's a very good question. I typically, it can take up to a year to write a book. I interview a lot of leaders, I get a lot of feedback. I ask people for their thoughts and advice on different chapters. My wife was a very successful leader at a major company in the States, and I will often ask her to review a chapter and give me feedback, and we discuss things and what have you. So, this latest book I'm working on is called Organizational Alignment, and I've reviewed it probably 30, 40, 50 times myself. I've given it to my wife numerous times. And she recently said to me, to quote your words, she said, let it go. Let it go. You're done. You're
Tell me
finished,
about it.
move
Tell me
on,
about it.
give it to the editor, send it to the
Yeah.
publisher.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
I
because if
did
you
in
keep
fact,
working on it, then you make it worse. That happened to me also.
yeah, right,
Sometimes
right.
you want to make
Yeah,
it
when you,
good, and there is a point that we have
yeah,
to let go of the book, because otherwise we think that we are
yeah,
going to make it better, but we are repeating ourselves. Yeah, or
yeah.
we are then.
Same, same idea. We were talking about using the discussing style. The discussion can go on and on and on. Same thing with a book. The review process, you can go on and on and on endlessly. At some point, you got to say, okay, I have nothing more to add. I'm done. Even if I had something, it would be so minor, it's not worth it. So let it go. Move on to your next area you want to research and think about and what have you. So yeah,
I think it's
that's
more important what you're doing, which is doing more. It's better to do more.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'm always working on something. Yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
good, good. Better
Yep.
to, how
Yep.
many people we know that they are with the same book trying to finish it for 1 year, for 2 years, for 3 years, 5, 10.
Yep.
They're around with the same book. Like,
Yeah.
it's, I know at the beginning it's difficult. At the beginning it's difficult to, because I write it, we don't have experience and we want the book to be the best.
Yep.
But
Yep.
after you get into the flow, the whole
Mm-hmm.
point is about to write good books, but quickly,
Mm. Mm.
so we can have more people with more topics. Make sense?
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah. So
One thing, Harry, too, I wanted to mention, it was kind of a theme, I think, of your program is, how do you become wealthy? How do you become a millionaire?
mm-hmm.
And I used to, I taught at a college for a number of years, and I used to tell my students that it's really important as you work and exceed and excel in your job, you get promoted and what have you, and your income goes up, over time, your income goes up. But also, some people, regarding their expenses, they go right up at the same rate as their revenue or their income. And, they feel entitled to, I'm making 200,000 now, so I'm entitled to a new car, or I'm entitled to a bigger office, or I'm entitled to this and that. And they keep spending as much as they're making, or more in some cases. I didn't do that. I kept my expenses very low. My income went up dramatically. My expenses stayed where they were. So I had a big gap between those two, and that became my nest egg, so to speak, or what I could invest in the stock market. And of course, the more you invest over a long period of time, the more it grows and grows and grows. So my advice to my students was manage your expenses. Don't feel entitled. Don't feel like you need a new car every 2 years, or you need a new house or a bigger, you know, whatever, boat or whatever it happens to be. If you do that, you will eventually you'll accumulate a lot of money. And if you invest it wisely, it'll grow even more. So I think that's a really important,
Very good.
simple idea.
Very good, Paul. You should write a book about
Yeah.
this. Yeah, you will help a lot of people
I
because
haven't written a book about that, but I probably should.
yeah, you have to. You have to. You
Yeah,
have to
yeah,
do it for me
yeah,
and for our
yeah,
audience. Yeah, and this
yeah.
is very important, extremely important what you just share because,
Yeah.
especially the entrepreneurs, right? That
Mm.
to go from 0 to 1 million is what we call a product market fit. So you have to, if you're right to 1 million in sales, that means that somehow you're selling your product, people are buying it. So there are some indication that your
Yeah.
product is moving in the direction of product market fit. So you're most likely, if you do the right things, that your company succeed, right? Now,
Mm. Mm.
we found on the entrepreneurs that even those who don't write the first million, yeah, and
Hmm.
they have in the company, yeah, a huge
Hmm.
mistake that everybody does, yeah, and it's okay. and making money, we're reinvesting everything we got in the company. Every single penny
Mm-hmm.
we're reinvesting in the company. Every single, and this is a huge mistake. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What is a
Mm-hmm.
different approach is exactly what you just shared with us. You're making some profit, you invest it in a vehicle, could be in a stock market, could be in property, could be in a vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
And then that return that the vehicle give you can use it and put it back in your business you want. But you know what happened? If COVID comes, if the technology advance, if a new AI tool come, if anything happen and you go out of business,
Mm-hmm.
you won't be able to start from zero again because still you have those assets producing your income, right? So
Mm-hmm.
and and it's sad because entrepreneurs they were really hard. You know already what you use.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
to wear the hat. They took a big decision in their life. They're learning a lot of skills, and and just because they're missing this exactly what you said, they are taking all the money and rather they're not buying the car, they're not buying the the,
Mm-hmm.
what they're doing is taking all this money and put it back in the business and probably they even put it back in the business in the wrong. Maybe they put it in product, right, to put it in marketing and sales. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the day, the entrepreneurs out there, they have to learn how to manage the wealth to become wealthy because
Mm-hmm.
the business can outlast you. That's the truth, but can also um, disappear as well. And sometimes have nothing to do with you. Sometimes it's exactly
Mm-hmm.
what we're talking about. The market change so quickly, and if you
Mm-hmm.
have a slow response to change, is
Mm-hmm.
if difficult is challenging. Yeah, even for us, we
Yeah.
imagine we have an event company and we were doing events all over the world, physical events. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
when COVID came, and now all of a sudden I'm asking people, what is Zoom? You know what I mean? What is
Mm-hmm.
that? Because the
Yeah.
industry changed completely, and you have to quickly adapt to it. Makes sense?
Yeah.
So, Paul,
Well,
yeah, go ahead.
yeah. Well, going back to what we talked about earlier, that if you have a very narrow focus and you've only worked in one area, you don't have the broad understanding of the marketplace. So, to your point, Harry, when you see things changing, you don't react as quickly as you need to or as quickly as you should, and you get in big trouble. And before you
Very
know it,
good.
you're out of business
Yeah.
because you were too slow to respond. So,
Hmm.
again, the idea of broadening your knowledge and broadening your understanding of your industry and the economy and what's going on in the world is really, really, really important. And you got to keep working at that, and growing your network and using your mentors and all that type of stuff will help you see the big picture. And that comes in, it's critically important when there's big changes or even little changes in the marketplace with your customers, with your competition. And you got to be able to react and react quickly. And if you don't react quickly, you can be in big trouble. I mean, we
100%.
see that all the time.
And,
Yeah.
and that can happen, Paul. However, if they follow the advice that you just shared and they keep the expenses down, and when they were
Hmm.
making money, they use this
Yeah.
money and rather than buy a car, rather than put it back in the company. I mean, you can put a portion back in the company, it's okay. But the most important thing is, as long as you're making money, um, you have to find some vehicles where you can invest that money.
Yeah.
So and then and that's the money that you have to put in the
Hmm.
business back if you want to put. That's what you have. You don't have more than that. If
Mm.
otherwise, it's a huge risk to. It's a huge risk that the entrepreneurs are taking out there just for nothing. Yeah, they can plan better. They can end up exactly like you, healthy,
Mm.
wealthy, happy, And this is what we want for all our listeners. This is what we want for all these. This is what we believe that is possible for all the entrepreneurs listening to us. So, Paul, thank you so much for your work. Thank you so much for your kindness. Keep writing. Yeah, keep writing.
Thank you.
Especially this one. This one, I like it a lot. Yeah, you send me a copy of this one.
I'll send you a copy of
you get some
my latest one.
inspiration, write this one about how people can create wealth, yeah, for companies, for entrepreneurs and also for individuals as well, because completely different ball game, that you go your business because you want to, not because you have to. It changes the dynamic a lot, and entrepreneurs they have time to take care of their health and their relationships and enjoy life like everyone is. Yeah. Regardless that they never will retire. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. And for you guys, see you in our next episode of Unstoppable, how brave entrepreneur like Paul break that wall and achieve the first million. Bye for now.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.